We obviously read that release last week talking about 150 million bucks over 10 years being made available to purchase domestically produced uranium in the US. What was your reaction when you saw that?
My reaction obviously was positive. I think that it was nice to see it actually come official from leaks from last fall. So I was glad to see that portion. I mean, technically it's not over with. It still needs to be, the budget needs to be approved, and the approval process is year over year, so they can say there's an intention for a 10-year program. But it's really a year by year approval process for the budget. But it's a good start. It's obviously something. It's something, which is what we've just been hoping for, something to come of this situation that's been so just so long in the tooth. So, but it's clearly not a.
What have you heard? What have you heard in the market when you've been talking to people or writing? What are people getting back to you? I mean, I know it's something, right? But is it enough? Is it just the first salvo? I know we've heard conversation about it, and some more information being released in the next couple of weeks. I mean, what do you think you or people you've been speaking to need to see in the next couple of weeks?
I mean, I don't know that I need to necessarily see anything in the next couple of weeks, but I mean, do I think it's enough? No, but it's something. The intention from that program was even stated that there would be 2, maybe 3 companies supported by it. And I think clearly that's, the obvious would be UR Energy and Energy Fuels. Yeah. UR Energy being the lowest cost current producer in the US, Energy Fuels, they're sitting on 500,000 pounds of inventory, just sitting in cans, ready to sell. So those would be the first immediate beneficiaries. Again, it's for 2021, so I don't know what happens between now and then. But I think really what I'm hoping the overall result from not only this buying program, but whatever else comes out of the working group recommendations, just kind of gives some sense of relief or closure to the industry, and would like to see prices kind of start to move. I mean, that's ultimately the result that I think most investors are looking for, unless people are speculating on the U.S. companies for this specific direct buying.
Well, if I look at share price, do you think you've seen a reaction? Do you think you've seen a positive reaction?
If you look back only over the past week or two, then it looks relatively positive. Well, for some of the stocks, Energy Fuels announced that bought deal, so the share price got smacked after they announced that. So
are you a buyer? Are you a buyer of their news release? Do you buy what they said in the news release as to the use of proceeds? Why do you think they did it?
I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna have to just wait and see. Let Mark answer that in your interview. I mean, they've got a huge cash burn. They burn what, $30 million a year or something like that. So it's a big nut to make every year, and they need money. So I think that it seems like investor sentiment is not all that, they're not all that happy about it. I personally don't own the stock, but I think that they supposedly have access to ATM funds, at the market, share issuance at market prices. So why offer a bought deal at a 10% discount? The retail investor, again, in this kind of market that's just consolidating, moving sideways or down, it's like the retail investors, like, you got to play defense, and they're just getting smacked around. And of course, the beneficiary to this deal is the entity that's taking place in the bought deal. They're the ones that win. But they need the money, and it's like, I'm not surprised, and I don't know if anybody is surprised.
It's kind of like
I can't speak for Mark, so.
Yeah, well, we're gonna speak to him on Friday, right? So we're gonna hear from the guy himself, and we were trying to work out why now as well, and clearly they're in the middle of it, right? So they're not going to say anything, but if they get this thing closed off the next few days, they usually take about a week of these things. It might give us an insight. I mean, we could only speculate, but it seemed to be. His view seems to be like, get on the offense. He talked about defense there. He's like, he's going to get on the offense because he's either reading something really big into the announcement from the DOE, and he knows something we don't, or it could be as simple as, well, actually, I need to bolster my balance sheet here, because
Yeah.
our burn is our burn, a couple of $1 million a month.
Yeah.
Or again, I'm just trying to work it. And they've obviously got that convert coming due at the end of the year as well. So I think they need to start having conversations. And I think you don't have a conversation about something like that in a position of weakness, i.e., a balance sheet which is struggling. You want it with cash there because I think you get better terms. I know because I've sat the other side of the table, right? I guess we'll wait till Friday, but it's interesting. The market really went negative on that.
I don't want to make too many assumptions, but who knows? Like you said, he might know something that none of us do, and there could be very good reason for it. It's hard to speculate on that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what do you think the DOE is going to come out and say? I know you said you don't need to see anything, but what do you think the market needs? Because, like you said, it's not a lot of money. It's not a whole lot of cash. And we're talking about a couple of companies with, not that many employees. There's a whole raft of nuclear reactors out there that, coming to either end of life or, aren't making money. I mean, what does the DOE need to say to the market to kind of get people really excited, really juiced up?
That's a good question. I honestly don't know that words are going to go that far at this point. I think that the spot market needs to move in order for the equities to react. I could be wrong. They could come out and say something, oh, we're 10xing the buying program. Obviously that would make everything move like crazy, but I don't see that happening. I do think that there's going to be further working group recommendations that we're supposedly going to hear this week, next week. I think Secretary Brigette just mentioned, it'll be a few days or a week or two. So hopefully that actually happens. There's multiple leaks coming out and him speaking directly saying that's coming.
Yeah.
So I think that the overall industry is definitely going to get some more support from in the way of conversion support, enrichment support. We could see some federal mining bans being lifted. We could see some ease of permitting. I think there's going to be huge support for SMRs, which there already seems to be. I'm very pleasantly surprised at how quickly that seems to be moving. And I think that's going to be the United States sort of ace in the hole when it comes to maintaining some sense of competitive advantage globally up against the Chinese and the Russians with their exports.
Well, tell us about
maybe
that.
They announced that the Chinese and the Russians have this export market for nuclear reactors where they're essentially making deals with other countries where they will fund the building of the plant. They will build the plant. They will train operators, and they'll fuel the reactor for the life of the reactor. And so it's not only is it just kind of a brilliant move and just from a business sense, but it gives these countries just insane leverage politically. So, and the United States, I think, has just completely fallen off the radar when it comes to international dealings with nuclear. And so the small modular reactors, the SMRs that are being built by a couple of companies in the United States now and being tested, and there seems to be big support from the government in aiding the funding of the research and potentially utilizing this new technology in exports. And there's a whole new market, like a full-size 1,000 megawatt reactor is multiple, sometimes tens of billions of dollars to build, and it's a massive power generation that needs a big grid to even accept that type of energy. So these smaller, couple hundred megawatts, and even smaller than that, they can be placed in much smaller, how would you say, municipalities around the world, and so we'll see. It's looking quite positive. And the other thing with the SMRs is I don't think potential future growth from SMRs is baked into any sort of modeling at this point because it's so new. It could be a very big positive demand story over the next, let's say, 5 to 10 years.